We are going to learn how to move images onto one document. So the first thing you'll want to do is create a new document. And before I do that, I'm going to reset my tools because it's always a good idea to make sure everything's functioning. So on this drop down arrow, right click, reset all tools. Okay. And if you want to make sure you have all your panels where they need to be, right click, reset essentials. So now I know everything is where it should be. And I'm going to get a new document. File, new. I'm going to make it 8.5 by 11 with 72 resolution, and I'm going to call this document shadow box, or you can name it something else, whatever is going to help you remember for this particular assignment. And I'm going to choose OK, and now I have a new blank document. And all I have to do to move pictures, you see I have all of my pictures opened that were in that folder. My football one, I'm going to use my move tool. And I'm just going to click, hold, and drag up to Shadow Box tab and back down without letting go of my mouse. And once you see a plus, you can see that it recognizes you have an image. Resizing images is transforming them, and you are technically then editing the image itself. So edit, transform, many different transformations, but we will use free transform, which is a shortcut of Control T, which you will use often. So I'm going to choose Edit Free Transform, which gives me a bounding box. This bounding box allows me to make things bigger or smaller. And when I want to change the size of something, I can click and hold and drag, and you can see that I can get it out of proportion fairly easily unless I hold my Shift key down. By holding the Shift key is like a lock key, and it will allow me to resize things proportionately. And by releasing my mouse, without letting go of my Shift first, will let that stay where it needs to be. And I can still move my image as long as I'm on the inside. I can be on the outside and rotate my image and move it around. And when you're done, just check the box, or you can see that you're committing to the transformation by choosing return also will do the same thing. And bringing in another image. If I want to take this whole image over, I would again just use my move tool, but if I just want a portion of this, like the football player, I'm going to use my selection tool, which is a rectangular marquee tool. I have other selection tools. This will give me a circle or an elliptical. This one will give me a square or a rectangle, depending on what I draw out. Here's my rectangle. By clicking and holding and dragging, I can draw out a square. And if I want a perfect square, again, same thing. If I hold the Shift key, it will only let me draw a perfect square. If I hold my Shift key while I'm drawing a elliptical marquee tool, it will give me a perfect circle if I hold the Shift key. So again, that Shift key is kind of by default a locked tool. So just try to remember that. And then I now have a perfect square. And the tricky part that people have is they think they have the move tool because those tools look very similar, but I'm only moving the marquee selection, or we call it often the dancing ants. So if you want to move this after you've made it, you can do that. But if you technically want to move the image, you need to go choose your move tool. So click, hold, and drag again onto the tab that says shadow box, and then don't release it unless you are seeing that plus and you're actually active on that image. And again, if I want to transform this, make it smaller and rotate it, I want to edit free transform, which is Control T. So I'm going to get out of that and just practice with Control. Press the Control button down and then press T at the same time. I can rotate it. I can hold my Shift key from a corner handle to keep it in proportion. You have to do the corner handle because if you hold the Shift key and you're pushing from the side handle, it will still make it perspectively incorrect. And there's my second picture, and then I'm just going to choose enter this time instead of the checkbox that's up on top. And that was it. There's my second picture. And my football 3. Again, if I want just a portion of this, I'm just going to take the marquee tool. If I want a rectangle, I'm not holding the Shift key this time. And I just want to take this part of the picture right there. Don't forget to get your move tool. Click, hold, and drag. And release when you get onto this particular document. And here's Control T able to make it bigger or smaller. I am holding the shift key right now. And I think I'll rotate that slightly. Maybe I'd make it a little smaller. And then checkbox to be finished, or I could have hit enter. So that's how to move images onto a document and create one document with several pictures.